bait right there. Howdy, kids! I wasn't planning on making a video on this, but I can't really do the things I want to do this weekend because of the weather. It's not good outside. In fact, I mean, you ought to see it. Anyways, we're going to do a painting video, and I'm just going to go over everything because, well, I can't really paint today. I could, but it would be a lot of extra work that I don't need to do. The snow's supposed to let up this evening, so I'm hoping tomorrow I can move some stuff out. Because I have the Z in here. I tried to fit another car in here, just could not do it. Got this up here. I don't recommend that you paint with your vehicles in the garage. You can, but make sure that you cover them the best you can. Plastic, cover them, tape the plastic down and all that, because you're going to get overspray, and overspray is not fun to get off. You basically you'll have to clay bar your whole vehicle, and then when you do that, then you'll have to coat your vehicle with like a ceramic coat or something like that, because you're going to strip everything off of the paint. Trying to cover that and that, I'd have to do that on a ladder. I just don't. Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. But I can prep the bumper today. So what we're going to do is go over prep. When you order these cheap bumpers online, they come rolled up. This was the worst one that I've ever gotten. It was rolled like completely into a 2-foot roll. And I had to like heat gun it, and even after that, I had to turn the heat up in the garage and let it sit for a whole day before it finally took shape. But the Elantra GT that I did was a little over a year ago. My buddy bought that off of me, and he hit a raccoon that cracked the bumper. Wasn't that bad. He was fine. A week later, he hit 2 trash cans that blew out in front of him. And his bumper right now, from right here over, is gone. All of that is gone. Core support, that's all busted off right here. Is gone. We patched his core support last time, so this side's all patched up. The bumper didn't really feel great. This is an aftermarket grill like I put on it. Their painting and masking is the best that I've ever seen. But this is way cheaper than going with the factory grill. Now, I don't have a Hyundai emblem, and his is gone now, so I don't know what he wants to do there. But fog lights didn't come yet, and we got an inner fender because his is like ripped out. So first off, what I recommend, if you're going to be doing some painting in the garage, get yourself a couple stands, okay? These are relatively cheap at Harbor Freight. I have 3 of them right now. One is really bent. It's not this one, thank God. Just go get yourself one of these. This makes it way more convenient when you're painting a bumper. You can set the bumper on there, it forms to it, holds it in place, and it keeps you up off the ground. So there we are. As you can see, the arms fit right up underneath it. It's formed really good. This bumper actually formed. I can't believe how good it formed into shape. Because it was really bad. It's still a little right here. I don't think this should be bulged up as much. I think it should be down. But the grill and stuff will help with that. This gets cut out of this one. We're going to leave it in for painting. We'll cut it out later. The grill goes in place. It covers up this outer portion. There's a trim ring. It goes on. The grill goes on from behind. This goes on from the front. And it covers the outer edges of that. And you can see how far off we are right now. But yeah, that's gonna fit eventually. Maybe. It did on the last one. So anyways, these bumpers you get more than likely will have primer on them already. This one appears that it does. You can wipe it down first before you sand it. But I unboxed this thing. It looks relatively clean. I'm not even going to worry about cleaning it. We're just going to sand it. And this primer is thin, so you can't really go crazy on these, especially around the edges. You want to watch when you sand them. Just sand them lightly. I recommend you use 600 or 800. Normally I would say 400 for regular primer and stuff, but since this thinner, you don't want to go through it. And I also recommend that you use an adhesion promoter over top of this. You normally want to use that on bare plastics and stuff, but you don't know if you sand it through to bare plastic in some areas. So just coat the whole thing in adhesion promoter, get that out of the way, and then you don't have to worry about it for later. Pay close attention to make sure that you sand the very edges, like down in here where the headlight goes. You might want to spend some time and clean up some edges, like some mold edges. Like, look how this one is not very, rounded. You might want to take a little Dremel and just round that edge. Let's see how nice this one is. It's about the same. But there's a mold edge right there, and you can see the line of it. If you go around there, you might want to take the time and just clean up that lip on there, just to make it a little bit smoother. You don't have to, but if you want to go the extra effort, then you can. And it's the same with the edges inside the fog light holes and stuff like that. There's some mold. It's where the mold fits together, and you have a little extra plastic in there. It's not going to hurt, but if you're particular, you can do that. So we're going to sand this with 600, because that's what I have, and get this thing all prepped up. After you do that, you want to use a grease and wax remover, or at least isopropyl alcohol or something like that, just to wipe it down, make sure all the grease and oils and stuff like that are off of it. From there, we're going to stop today. We'll come back tomorrow, because then I should be able to get this out of the garage, and it'll be a lot easier to cover this thing then. So alright, so I cheaped out. What I did was I used the water and alcohol mix that I have. This is like half and half. Alcohol, isopropyl alcohol to water. Just sprayed it on there, doused it, and wiped it down. It's cheaper than grease and wax remover. When you're wiping it down, you can kind of see areas where you actually sanded through the primer. So you see how these areas are light right there. I actually sanded through the primer, and I was even being real careful not to do that, and I still did. That is the reason why you want to use a adhesion promoter. There's the Bulldog adhesion promoter is one of them. There's a cheaper one I've been using. It actually works. Let me go find a can of it. Right here, I got it on Amazon. This was the cheapest stuff that I found. This has a longer window, but you also have to wait longer for this to dry. They want you to wait a half an hour after you spray it down with this, but then you have a 24-hour window after that. The Bulldog adhesion promoter is like 5 to 10 minutes, and then they want you to spray it, and I don't know how long the window is, I forget. But I've had problems with that stuff before. I have not had a problem with this stuff yet. So for being cheap, it works. So there you go. Now, I'm not going any further today. That is enough. And I'm going to clean up. Really didn't use much. I used 4 pieces of sandpaper and a couple towels to wipe that down. And it's pretty clean, but tomorrow we are going to wipe this down again, but I am going to use grease and wax remover because that's what I normally use. But I just wanted to show you that that also is a feasible choice. There's some things I recommend, and I'm not doing it because he didn't give it to me and I don't have it, is painting that plug. If you have a plug in the bumper, that's where your tow hook goes or whatever, sand it and paint it with the bumper, okay? So that I don't know that it's going to match. I don't think he cares, but I just wish I had it because I know that it might be a shade off. So it'll look like a little circle in the bumper that's a different color. I'm not a professional. I'm just telling you what has worked for me over the last couple years since I've started painting. So this is, and I'm doing decent. I'm doing good. The paint job on this Z, I would have never thought I had to paint something that good. You guys remember I had to paint this whole rear hatch. I had to paint the door and the fender and the front bumper on this thing. Paint's holding up great. Oh, I painted that lip too. This fender I painted. This door I painted. Did body work on. Yeah. How do you think it looks? Ooh. Another thing is I wanted to use the LVLP gun on this. That one I just got. But I'm not going to just because of the metallics. I sprayed it the last time with my regular guns. And I'm afraid that the metallic's not going to lay the same with that gun because it's going to spray out different. So I'm just going to use my regular guns to spray this just so I know that I'm not messing the metallics up. All right, so just had to see my team make it into the playoffs. Yes, okay. I got to move this out, get this down, cover it, and make sure there ain't no weird people out here again. Oh, okay. We're good. We're good. Oh my, look at that thing. So what we're going to do after I get this out, we're going to cover this car in plastic, which technically I only have to cover from the fenders back. We got a new hood, new fenders, new bumper. Well, this fender's not going to be new, but I got to do body work and I got to paint on it. So, yeah. So we got to do that. I got to cover my cab. I'm going to cover the front end of this so my lights don't get overspray, and the hood area just so overspray doesn't get into the engine bay. And I'm also going to cover the cab and the windows because overspray is easy to clean off a glass, but on this fresh paint job I just don't want to deal with it. So we're going to cover the cab, get that all covered in plastic so we don't get overspray on that. And my car will be outside. And what I do to ventilate the garage. Now, I only use one box fan. I do recommend using more. But I tape microfibers on it. And that eliminates all the overspray from going out into the driveway. And it does eliminate all of it. I used to put different filters on there and stuff like that. Oh yeah, Smart Todd here. But over the years, I have like my Infiniti, my Subaru, my White Z. I had to clay bar those because I had overspray all over them from blowing it out into the driveway. Ever since I switched to putting microfibers on the fan, none. So the microfibers stop pretty much all of the overspray from going out. So that's what I've stuck with. And you can get microfibers cheap. I buy rolls at Walmart for $15. It's like 75 microfibers. Yeah. And then you get them on sale at Harbor Freight whenever they have them on sale. Get a small pack. Get a small pack every time you go. Sometimes you get a pack for free. Do that. Get as many packs as you can. Anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to clean the floors. I recommend wetting the floors. I don't think I'm going to this time, but I'm going to clean the floors wipe the bumper down one more time, and then we're going to go adhesion promoter, sealer, base coat, which is the only coat, unless it's a tri-coat. If you're doing a tri-coat, then you'll do base coat, top coat, and a clear. So we just do a base coat and a clear with this stuff. And this is silver paint, and I'm going to show you how I spray my metallics to get a good, even metallic finish. And I take all this with a grain of salt because, like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy in my garage that has been doing garage paint jobs for a couple of years now, and this is what works for me. Alright, if you're leaving your cars in the garage, this is what they should look like. Except for the truck. You would normally... I'm saving plastic here, okay? I just made sure the cab's covered. Some of the bed. That all was getting painted. And don't worry about that. Now I'm going to close off the rest of the garage, but I want to show you something else. For filtration, this is all I am running, okay? This is a 29-gallon air compressor. It's a single stage, not a dual stage. Runs off of 110. And I run a desiccant filter system. This is from Harbor Freight. You can buy this. It's relatively cheap. I want to say 30 to 40 bucks, something like that. You can run more than one, but all I do is clean this every time before I paint. Now you can buy desiccant on Amazon. You can see I've been going through that. But all you do, well, disconnect your line. I have a quick disconnect there. You also want to drain anything out if there's anything in there. I should have did that first. Then this twist comes off. Wipe out the inside of that. There's a little bit of dirt in there. I have a can here. See? Just dump that out. There's a little bit more in there. I'll wipe that out. Filter. It's dry, but I'll dab that with a rag if it's wet. Then this one's a little bit more hard to do, okay? So not only do you got to take it out every time and clean this. Like, see that's not completely used up yet. It's purple. When it's completely pink, then it's completely used up. But since honestly, I could reuse that. You know what? We're just going to reuse that. Whenever it's pink complete, since we're only doing a bumper, that should still filter out. I'll tell you what, I'll put a little bit in, dump a little bit out here. I'll put a little bit of fresh in there, that way it definitely filters. Now here's the only downside I found with these is they get pretty like crummy, so you got to clean this seal off. So I'm gonna wipe this down. You might want to spray like some WD-40 on it or something. I don't recommend spraying a lot because if you get it in here, then it gets in your line and then it gets in your paint, and that's not good. And then another thing you want to do, and I have an Allen key here, you're going to have a hard time putting this thing back on if you run it for a long period of time. Run an Allen head or something up through the inside of this thing around the outer edges, because it gets like oxidation and stuff in there, and you will not get this thing back on. It is hard. Now you can see, put a little bit of fresh desiccant in there, and I'm going to spit on it and then slap it in there. And if you think I'm kidding, that's what I actually did. So this, you can find it. I don't think that's the right spot. You got to find the right spot. Ask your mother. Right there. Okay. Now you have to force it up in as far as you can and then twist it. Actually went relatively easy for once. I had to clean this yet. I didn't do it. All right, we got that all cleaned out now. Put that up in there. Okay, got it. Now, last thing you want to do, and you can see by the floor, I drained the tank. Not completely, I just drain the water out of it every time. So get underneath here, find your drain valve. You can relocate your drain valve. And that's it. Really wasn't a lot of water in there, but yep. Now hook your line back up, and this is all ready to go. Another thing I do is I have one of these blowers with a heater on it. I don't think they sell these heaters anymore at Harbor Freight, but you just flip the switch there and it blows heat out of this blower. Not a lot of air comes through, but it's enough that it keeps it kind of warm over here. It's another thing you kind of want to do if you're painting in a garage and it is cold out. You're going to want to preheat your garage, because once the temperature gets too low, you're going to have a problem with your paint and it's not going to want to dry. I'm going to pull this tarp down over everything, section this side of the garage off. I do that to kind of help with the overspray in the full garage, that and then the fumes getting into my house. I block this off. Does it keep all of the overspray over here? No, it doesn't. I wish it did. Now if I actually opened a window so a crosswind would come through, that would help. But it's cold out and I got to keep it warm in here. So I'm just going to vent out and, you know, it'll stay warm up. Since I'm only doing a bumper, if you're doing a whole car, this is a completely different story. But just doing a bumper, that should be enough. All right, now I swear one of these days I'm going to make a more permanent solution to my ventilation and everything. I sometimes use 2 fans. We're going to use one today with the microfibers. Then I do a piece of cardboard across the door, tape it so that it's sealed off. Green tape sticks to garage doors better than blue tape. That's another tip. Man, this video is full of tips, okay? Just a tip. But yeah, I got a bunch of rolls of this on Amazon for a good price. I get a lot of my stuff on Amazon. You see 6 rolls here? Boom. Good stuff. All right, so now I am going to use grease and wax remover. This unlabeled can is a can I've been using for a long time and I'm still using it. And I have another full can I haven't even opened yet. But we're just going to use this and we're going to wipe down the bumper and then I'll go get my guns out. I don't have any of my guns out. And I'll tell you what I recommend if you're just getting into painting for a paint gun. And if you want to actually spend a lot, not a lot. If you actually want to spend some money, what I also recommend, and it's still affordable, especially if you get them on a sale at Harbor Freight. Alright, now I just spent some time warming this can up because it was pretty cold and I don't think it would spray very good if it was cold. But we're going to do 1 even coat with adhesion promoter on this bumper right now, and it needs to dry for half an hour. And that's going to give me time to go eat a snack and go grab my guns and take my time and maybe kiss a cat and come back. So 1 even coat. Alright, gonna wait the full half an hour. I don't know how spraying with my glasses on is gonna work, but I've been having problems with my eyes, so I figured I'd be smart for the day. I'd be able to wipe them off with acetone, hopefully, and not ruin my lenses. I don't know. We'll find out. Now, all 3 of these can be purchased at Harbor Freight. This one being the cheapest one. It's a Central Pneumatic. It's an HVLP gun. Got a 1.4 tip. I think you can also get them with a 1.7. 1.4 puts out a good bit of paint. 1.4 is good for sealer. I've done whole paint jobs with this, clear everything. I think these are around 60 or 70 bucks. This is the one I would recommend if you're starting, at least. I mean, you can go with the cheapest Harbor Freight gun, with all of these Harbor Freight guns. Clean them first. So they put oils in these, and like, I don't know, it's to preserve them or what. but they put oil in these, and you need to get that out, or you're going to ruin your first paint job with one of these. So this is number 1 on my list for cheap. Number 2 on my list I got for clear coating. It's an HTE gun. This is the Spectrum gun. This one is the one I recommend if you would like to spend a little bit more money. I honestly recommend this one over the Black Widow guns, because honestly they are like identical. Like the internals and everything, they're pretty close to the same thing. But this one, I think I got this on sale for around $100. These are normally like 200 or close. I think it's something like that. HTE, this is really good for your clear coat. You're going to get a lot of overspray with this, but they're really good. And then the Black Widow, I just wanted to get one to see how good they were. These are really good guns. I'm just saying that for the price, these ones spray about the same, and they're identical internally. So, yeah, that's my recommendations for guns. As for anything else on the market, I've never used anything else. Just Harbor Freight guns. That's all I got, except for that new one I just got, the LV LP gun. And it did decent. It feels cheaper. Honestly, the Central Pneumatic one I got there feels nicer than that. It sprayed fine, so whatever. Any gun, just to get you started, will work. It's just how you spray it, that's where it comes in at. Understand your mixing ratios, okay? If it says 2 to 1, this right here, sealer, is 4 to 1 to 1. So that's 4 parts of paint, 1 part of this 2K undercoat hardener, and then 1 part of reducer. Now, buy mixing cups or get these disposable sleeve cups. This is what I paint with, these disposable ones. They have mixing ratios on them. Keep them clean. Mine are dirty. It still works. I just got dirt inside the cup. These have strainers in the lid, so that helps. I do recommend straining your paint. I kind of got away from doing that because of the lids having strainers in them, and I haven't had a problem. If you look on here, here's the 4 to 1 to 1 ratio. If you want to mix this much, right there's that chart, here's this chart. I'm going to do 2 parts of the paint, so, and then this is your 1 to 1 ratio. So paint will go to there, hardener will go there, reducer will go to there. If you don't have that and you're using the cups that come with the paint guns, you can buy disposable mixing cups. And there you go. And they got your ratios on them. Here's what I say I've gotten away from straining my paint. There's a strainer built into every one of these lids on these disposable cups. And that's kind of why I don't strain anymore, because it's straining anyways. But I do recommend it if you want to get a really good paint job, which I still get really good paint jobs without doing it, but just saying. Okay, so that's on there. These are the disposable cups, and you have to have an adapter for them, and this is the adapter. You can get these at Harbor Freight as well, the adapter, and they screw on all their guns. Turn it. There you go. And now I should have enough sealer in there to spray it. Now, I'm going to spray at like 30 psi. So I'm going to hook the air up, and then I'm going to pull the trigger just so air comes out, and I'm going to see where it stabilizes at. And it should stabilize at 30. I also recommend, so a regulator on your gun and a filter. These are cheap. You can get these at Harbor Freight. Everything I'm showing you can be bought at Harbor Freight. I put one of these filters on every one of my guns, and I haven't even changed them. It's probably about due to change these, but just showing you. And last but most important, a respirator, and a good respirator, because you don't want to get the cancers or anything like that. So right now my air pressure at 60. When I pull the trigger, it goes to 40. So I'm actually going to turn that down. I am having problems with my GoPro, and I don't know if it's the camera card or if it's the battery. So we'll see what happens.
Another late night on the payphone. You memorize my number like it's all you know. You told me you wouldn't call when you're lonely. I said I'd never pick up another one, but we know better. We're no good at not being together. 'Cause we got electric love, it's pulling me into the fight. You got a hold on me now, baby.
Clean your gun immediately after you're done spraying whatever coating you're spraying. So I'm done with sealer now. I already ran acetone cleaner through the gun. I buy a can of this every time I go to Harbor Freight. It is high power spray gun cleaner. It's acetone in a spray can. I spray that in the gun, then I go over to the trash can, pull the trigger and let it run through the gun. Not with the air pressure hooked up. Just let it flow through. Then when it's done, I fill it up again. I put a cap on it. Now there's some in here right now. I'll show you. Kind of pressurized because I pushed it in there, the cap in there. But especially with sealer, if you let sealer dry in your gun, you might as well just throw it away. So we're going to go clean that gun, and that also gives you time between your coats before you spray your next coating. Now the next coating is our color coat, and I have already reduced it and put it back in the can. This is all we have of that color. I think dark gray would have been a better choice to cover than the light gray, but I don't have dark gray sealer, so we're trying. This is already reduced. I already reduced it. It's ready to spray. All you gotta do is dump her in the cup. Our goal with this first coat is to get good coverage. After that, our goal is going to be to spread metallics. At least this is how I've been doing it. So, it's what works for me. Probably spray at 40 PSI, 35, 40. It's 45 right now. My pressure drops a little bit as I spray, so 40 is good. That is not a good fan. Not a good fan pattern. There, that one's good. Do I need to back my needle out? That looks better.
But now you're coming over.
Okay, so I will say it already looks really even. I don't see any tiger striping, but we're still going to do this just in case, because you might not see this stuff until you put clear coat on. So there we go. Mist coats, so a little bit further away, but controlled 50-50 overlap, and I'll show you. I think our pressure is getting low. Make sure your pressure stay up high. We got good coverage. We're going to let this dry, and then we're going to come back to clear coat. Now that was all child's play, because clear coating is the hardest part of painting. Now what you want to do with clear coat is get enough on so it has a glass-like finish, but do that without getting runs. So there is a fine line. If you don't get a glass finish and you get dry spray and it gets texture. If you put too much on, then you get runs, which I'm really good at. I am going to use my light so I can see my line. Sometimes it's really hard to see your clear coat line, and then that's when you put too much in an area and you get runs. So I'm going to set this up. We're going to spray at a high PSI, like 50 on this. It's going to make a lot of overspray, but should look good in the end. Now I like this light because it does several different things for you. First, it lights up the area that you're painting, and that helps a lot with seeing your paint line and all that stuff. Second it does is, with two lights like this, you can line up so that they line up exactly in one spot, which is the distance you are spraying at. So turn it on right now. This is probably how far I'm going to spray from. So I set that to a perfect circle from right there. Alright. Had to take an emergency pee-pee break. I'm at 50 PSI. That looks like a good pattern. Oh, I don't have gloves on. You're going to get sticky with clear coat. Wear gloves or you're going to get it on yourself. It's just the way it is. This light is probably the only product that I've showed you today that you can't get at Harbor Freight. But honestly, I don't know. Maybe you can. I got it on Amazon. But slow down there, cowboy. You're probably looking at this going, that's perfect. I'll tell you what, it is, okay? I'll take credit for that. I'll take credit. It is perfect. But that is only the first coat. And that's not where I mess up. It's normally in 2 or 3. Right now, it was really hard to see my coats. So I was surprised that I got this good of a finish. But let this dry for, like, I'm not gonna lie, 45 minutes before you go and start putting another coat on. Because you're gonna find out, if you spray it too early, you're gonna get runs. So we're gonna let this sit and dry for a while. Clear coat takes the longest for me because it's normally like an hour and a half, because I let my coats dry or flash off. And I used to do it like 20 minutes, and I paid the price for that. I do see dry spray. I didn't get up under this lip, but we will get that's covered by the grill, but I'll make sure I get that better on the next coat. So there it was, perfection. We didn't get it, we didn't get perfection, okay, but it's very close. So next coat I'll come back to you guys and we'll get on that. All right, I'm going to do this whole coat with just the GoPro, but this is where I normally mess up, so let's see what happens. I think I'm gonna have to mix up more clear for the next coat. Show you a fix because we got to run. So I got one run right there. It's not that bad. Man, I don't even know if I want to mess with it. We'll try it because we still have another coat of clear to go. So what you want to do is take some masking tape and lift it off. Okay, so now what we did, we made it a little rougher right there, but we're going to spray clear over that and it's going to level out. So we eliminated that run. Make sure we ain't got no more. I don't see any. I think we did pretty good with that coat. Alright, I'm looking. No drop there now. We got a little bit of dry. Oh, I got runs right there. They're not bad. I'm not doing good today, boys. That run is still a little visible, but it's not bad. Oh, I got a run right there. Oh my god. It's not as warm in here as I normally like it, so it's not flashing as fast as it normally does. Now I'm disappointed, but there's nothing I can do at this point. Just got to keep going. So I don't know if I turn in my flow, so I'm not putting as much on. Go in until we stop. Okay, there's 1, 2 and a half. We'll see how that works. hit that dislike button if your mom got the runs after I stopped over last week. And we'll see you on the next episode on Rick. Stu, man, you watching over your brother? He's sleepy. He ate, and he's sleeping. Hustily. You sleepy? You sleepy? He's a good kitty. He's doing better. He's eating. That's good. Stella's rubbing on my butt. What are you doing? You want me to pay attention to you? I see you.
She's rolling for you.
I see her. I see you.
She's like, look at Daddy, look what I can do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm so impressed. Look at you go. She likes booty pats. No, do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do you like booty pats? No. Sheldon, you take a nap too. You cats eat and then you take a nap. I wish I could do that. I gotta go work on stuff. I wish I could go take a nap. I gotta go work on cars. You wanna say bye-bye? You wanna say bye-bye? He said, don't bother me. Alright then. Boo.